Come and join our school community using the link below. We've put everything in one place, including the streaming platform shows. Bare knuckle boxing carries a vicious and brutal stigma.
Whether traditional dating or modern dating is the right thing to do.
Like, my entire perception of myself changed when I had the knowledge that I was going to go bald.
I think for men, one of the biggest insecurities is their hair.
So what you tend to notice is that both partners need to work in order to make ends meet.
Eventually led to the comeback.
I'm going to twist again. I'm going to go to the next level.
Yep. So I went a bit wild for like 2-3 years.
Comes easy. You can talk to anybody, and then you have your base. You have your like kind of baseline volume. So I don't talk much lower than this now.
As you just saw, one-to-one calls, live group calls twice per week. Take yourself from last man to first man and unlock more and more benefits with each passing week. It'll also be the official home of the 1M podcast moving forward. With 1M House, we have a dedicated filming location to make this happen. Additionally, all the courses and future courses are included. All the old videos from YouTube. I'll see you there. Enjoy the video. Right, and guys, welcome back. In this video, it's going to be very, very similar to when I said to you guys, is it laziness or patience? It's almost a part 2 of that. And the video is going to be called You Can Only Do As Much As You Can Do. And I think this is something that so many young men they're not understanding in this era. They're not taking into account. Now, I've seen guys that are making like 3-4 grand a month and they're depressed. They're like 21 years old making 3-4 grand a month and they're super depressed because they're like, I'm behind in life. But it's silly, right? It's all personal to you, so it's different, right? But that is kind of silly. Now, it might not be silly to you, but it is kind of silly because you're way ahead of like, if you're making 4 grand a month, you're ahead of like the national average. This is pounds, okay? Dollars will be different. You can do the conversion. But I know guys that are like 21 that are in that situation, that are really depressed. But I had counselling when I was younger, and I remember when I went in there, I ranted too. I said, look, we're going to do 3 sessions. Session 1, I'm going to tell you everything that's on my mind. I'm going to get it all off my chest because I need somebody to hear this. I was like, session 2, you're going to tell me, you're going to speak to me. I was like, I know it's weird that I'm running the session. I was like, but I don't want to get addicted to counselling. And I was like, session 3, we're going to wrap it up. We're going to finish this for good. She was like, you probably need like 20, 30 sessions like everybody else. But, you know, sure, you're the paying customer. Let's see what happens. Session 1, went in, ranted, did everything I needed to say. Session 2 is about 10 minutes in. And she was like, I think I figured you out. And I was like, perfect, right? Tell me what's wrong. And she just says to me, Chris, it's okay not to be the best at everything. Guys, even hearing that today, it takes so much weight off my shoulders. It makes me want to collapse on this floor and just have a sleep. Because I used to be, when I was in school, I was the guy who was good at everything. I was good at sports. I was the quickest, one of the strongest and stuff like that. And everything I did was competition. I mean, I would train for sports day. Sports day was just like a casual thing at the school and whatever. I would train for it leading up to it. The teacher would say, we're going to have a bleep test at the end of the month. I would train for the bleep test to make sure I won. It was very much my dad. He would put that into me. He would put that belief into me that I had to focus to that level and had to be that disciplined, and I always had to win. And when life didn't quite go so well and things were like falling apart and I didn't quite make it, and you're just like, what's my future going to be? This woman saying to me, Chris, it's okay not to be the best at everything. Just change the game for me. And that's, look, here's the thing. This is why I said to you guys, it's very much like the patience versus laziness video, because some of you will hear this advice and go, oh, it's fine. The male advantage is coming. I can sit there and do nothing for 10 years and it'll be fine. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying it's pretty much in the title. You can only do as much as you can do. And I'll give you an example. You know, they're like these pump up songs. You see like a boxing film, and the boxer's like, if you believe, you can achieve it. You just need to believe more and all this shit. But it's like, if your ability isn't good enough, if your cardio isn't good enough, you're probably going to lose. Like, I can believe as much as I want that I can beat Prime Mike Tyson in a fight. He's still going to knock me out. I can believe as much as I want that I could beat Usain Bolt in a race in his prime. He's just going to beat me, right? I could try as hard as I want. I can give 110%. I'm still going to lose. So you can only do as much as you can do in life. And I love those moments in sport where like somebody gets in with a Floyd Mayweather and they give everything and they still lose. And then at the end, they're like, I've got nothing left on the table. Like, I can accept that. It's a nice position to be in. And it's not celebrated enough that you can only do as much as you can do. You're only as intelligent as you are. You've got your limitations of like the area that you live in. You've got your boundaries, your physical boundaries, mental boundaries. You know, you can only do as many hours per day as your body will allow you. And then you're going to be tired. You want to take a few hours off. You're going to need to have a rest, a sleep, whatever it might be. It's different for everybody. Like, everybody is different. Some people have got, you know, wealthy parents, intelligent parents, and they went to like a private school and stuff like that, and that really helped them out. But that's not part of your life, so your limitations are different to theirs. And I think it's really important to remember, as, you know, men in general, but young men, you can only do as much as you can do. And it takes the pressure away. It really does, because you can work your balls off. You can give 100%, right? You can do as much as you can do. But you can't give any more than that. You can only do as much as you can do. And I live with that mentality. I'm just like, yeah, I did my best. I tried as hard as I could. And I can live and die with that. I think that's a very nice position to be in. And it almost strips your ego away as well, because you're like, I'm not trying to be something I'm not. I've got these limitations. I've got this goal in mind, and I think I can accomplish it, and I'm going to give everything towards that. But if I fail, it's like, it's not because I didn't put the effort in. It's maybe because I got something else wrong or whatever. That's a really nice position to be in. It takes the pressure away. And like I said, not everyone has to be a 25-year-old multi-millionaire with a six-pack abs and 7'2". It's just like, it's not everybody. Like, it's not realistic for everybody out there. Like, you can only do as much as you can do with what you currently have. Now, is it important to do like an MVP version, a minimum viable product version, or like get started somehow? Yeah, like if you're completely broke and you want to do a fitness transformation, you could just buy breads, you buy rice, you know, you just buy some beans and stuff like that. They're really cheap foods, like chicken's pretty cheap. You can do pull-ups down the park, and you can you can do hill sprints. Like, do you know what I mean? You can do some body weight stuff, some squats and whatever. You can just go and get, I mean, you could fill up 2 buckets of water and do some squats and whatever, like a broomstick. Like, there's ways, is basically what I'm saying. Now, there's nothing wrong with that. Will you get in the best shape of your life? No, you would get in better shape in a gym, but you can only do as much as you can do with what you have, and you can only push yourself to your limits. So even if you're in the gym, let's say if I was with you and I was like, come on, push, 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 and you were just like, I can't, I've got nothing left in my arms. But don't feel ashamed. You've done as much as you can with what you have. But, you know, you see it in the movies where it's like, as long as you change your mindset, you will be able to lift that. You won't. Like, your body does have limitations. Your body does have physical limitations. So does your mind. So is everything. And we get caught up in this like fantasy world online of like, if you can believe, you can achieve and whatever. You can only do as much as you can do. And it takes the pressure away. Like I said at the start of the video, near the start of the video with my counseling, when she said to me, it's okay not to be the best at everything, it's really nice. It was really nice to hear, because then what you're doing is you're just improving for you. You're not chasing perfection. You're just chasing your own personal limits. And you're going, how far can I take this? How far can I push this? Am I at my best? Am I at my physical limit? Great. Like, that's as far as I could push it. Whatever you do after that is up to you. You know, but how far can you go? Like, am I being lazy, or am I actually just being patient for something bigger that's coming down the line? Like, I'm handcuffed right now. You know, like, let's say if I ordered a new product or something like that for the business, and they said it's going to take 4 weeks to manufacture it. Is it laziness or patience? If I wait 4 weeks, it's patience. If I'm sitting there ringing them every day, why is it taking 2 weeks? They say to me, well, it was going to take 4. Do you remember we sent you an email? Like, are you stupid? Like, what's the matter with you? So there's a lot of that in life where you need patience. You can only do as much as you can do. You can't be the best at everything. You can't expect like perfect results off the jump. And it ties in again. I speak about this a lot, but the aggregation of marginal age. Like, just getting to an age in life where you've got these skills, where you've got this knowledge, where, you know, you're in control of everything. And look, guys, I have these days still where I sit there and I think, what the fuck? Like, there's so much to do. How can I get control of this? This is crazy. And then I think to myself, do you know what? You can only do as many hours as your body will allow you to do per day. You can only do as much as you can do. You can only satisfy people to a certain level. If you need a day off, you've got to take that day off. If you're not available, you're not available. Do you know what I mean? Like, you can't stretch yourself too thin. Otherwise, like, it's just inhuman. Like, you'd need a clone, you'd need a twin. Like, you just wouldn't be able to do it. And that in a way is like, you've got to set yourself up in a certain manner so that you're not, you know, you're not flat out 24/7. Like, you've got to set your life up, this life set up in a good way so you can actually handle what's in front of you. You know, maybe you've taken on too much. That's something you're gonna have to deal with and whatnot. But I think it's so important, like I said, as young men, to take away from this video, and this is the one thing I want you guys to remember, is you can only do what you can do. You can only do as much as you're physically capable of doing, mentally capable of doing. Like, you know, energy wise, you can only do as much as you're willing to do. Like, you're just going to get to a point where you just burn out, you just feel exhausted, you don't want to do anymore, you just like, you feel depressed and whatever. But that's not healthy. Yeah, like the old saying, an army marches on its stomach. Yeah, well, yeah, you might want to fight, you might want to win the war, you might want to conquer the world, but if you're hungry and you've got no energy and you feel weak, you're probably going to lose the fight, you know. And I think people live in this like woo-woo world where they're like, if I just listen to this music, it will hype me up. Yeah, it might for a little while, but you're still going to run out of steam like everyone else. Like, everyone gets tired, everyone has a plan until they run out of gas. Like, it's going to happen to everybody. Everybody's going to reach their limit, you know, whatever that limit is. And I think it's important for you guys to remember, otherwise people get really down about like, how are these people working 18 hours a day? How are they doing 7 days a week? How are they doing, how have they made $1 million in a month? And I'm not doing that. I need to push. And it's like, yeah, have some ambition, keep going, but you can only do as much as you can do with what you have. You might come from a poor family, that puts you 10 years behind somebody else. You might have gone to a terrible school and you have bad influences around you, whereas someone else went to a private school paid for by the parents, which you couldn't have done. And, you know, they had better teachers. Like in football, I had all the ability, but I didn't really have the coaching because I lived in a small area. If I had grown up in London, I would have had like elite level coaching, academy system from like 5-6 years old. You can only do what you have with what you have. Like, I know I should have gone for trials abroad because my style is more continental. Like, possession-based football was more my thing. I would play, I had the speed, but I'd rather play slower and then have little moments where you explode and whatnot. It would have been better for me to go for trials at like Ajax or, you know, over in Spain and stuff like that. How the hell would I have done that? How the hell could I have got there at like 14 years old on my own when I don't drive and my parents wouldn't have let me? So you can only do as much as you can do with what you have. And I feel like my whole life I've done that. I've always pushed it as far as I could push it with my limitations and my capabilities. And that's all you can ask from life. And they will grow. They will grow over time and you will get better at things. You get stronger. You can deal with stress easier, and sometimes you're on a high, next day you're on a low, and you know, sometimes you don't even know why, guys. Do you know what I mean? You don't even know why. You're like, why am I depressed today? It's no different than yesterday. I feel like shit. It's just the body, it's the brain. It just goes through cycles, and you just got to deal with this shit. And like I said, every day, you just do as much as you can on that day. You just wake up, you give it your all, you dedicate, you just commit, you put in as many hours as you can, and then if you go, I'm fucking sick of this, just take a sit down, watch a movie, go for a walk, do something else, go for a drink with a friend, go and watch that sports thing or whatever. Like, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Like I said, you can only do as much as you can do. That's you, that's who you are. You can push it. Are you being lazy or patient? There's a big difference. But I think it's good to remember, you know, you look at sports and everyone roots for the underdog, but the underdog usually loses. And that's one thing I think is important to remember in life, is to have an element of realism. You know, I'm never going to knock out the heavyweight champ of the world. I'm not big enough, I'm not heavy enough, I'm not well trained enough, it would take me too long. They would probably blow my head off. I'm not going to just sit there believing every single year, I can do it, I can do it, I can do it. Otherwise, I'm just going to waste my time, I'm going to waste my life. It's not a smart strategy for me. Do you see what I mean? And that's why I think it's important, because then you position yourself. There used to be a thing back in, you know, a long time ago, where before they went to war, they had to have a just cause. It was like, we have to have a real reason as to why we're going to war. I think that's true in this scenario too. I think a lot of guys need to sit there and go, I'm working hard and I'm dedicating to this dream. And you listen to like Eric Thomas, he was a great guy, I used to listen to him, but you listen to like Les Brown or something like that, and they pump you up, and you listen to a Gary Vee video and you're feeling like energized and ready to go. And it's like, I can accomplish anything as long as nobody else has to believe it except me, which is true. But it's like, you're also going to fall short because you just don't have it. Do you know what I mean? It's like, sometimes it's just not there. And this isn't me trying to knock you guys down. I think it will actually help you moving forward. I think as a 32-year-old man, that's some of the best advice I could give you, is just relax. Just relax. Like, you're trying to operate way out of your comfort zone. You're looking at a guy, you're 21, you're looking at a guy who's 22, who's a multi-millionaire, and you're going, I have to make it by 22, otherwise I'm behind him. You don't know his circumstances. You don't know what, you know, gifts he was given. You don't know how smart that guy is. You don't know if his dad gave him a small loan of like $1 million, like Donald Trump. You don't know if even, you know, somebody put a bit of money into Bitcoin for him and he walked away with like 200,000-300,000. Like, you don't know. Somebody in his family could have died and he walked away with like a whole house, sold it, cashed in on $500,000, and, you know, all he had to do was 2x, and all of a sudden he's a millionaire, right? You don't know people's scenarios. So you're putting all this pressure on yourself. You're panicking and you're like, why am I not doing more? I used to think that when I was younger. Why am I not doing more? I could do way more with this business. I could do this and that and that. And you're like, you don't have a team. If I had a team of like 20 people paid on salary every single month, I could do a lot more. That takes time. This year, we're hiring a few people. We're in a position now where we have all that in place. And it's just like, there's nothing wrong with that though, guys. Like, it takes time to do. I look at somebody like Ryan Serhant, 40 years old. He's now on Netflix. I was following that guy like 10, 12 years ago. He's like one of my idols in terms of business. His team is like 10x'd since he began. He's now got a Netflix show. He started off just doing YouTube videos with one guy. Like, one camera guy was just filming him going to viewings at houses. And I think he started on TV before that. He was getting on shows, so he wasn't even doing it himself. Somebody else was filming it, but you chip away. It takes a long time, and you can only do what you can do with what you have. And the problem is, everybody looks at the finished article. There was a quote the other day, I remember Chris Williams said it in a short. He said something like, everybody's jealous of the results, but not the journey. And that's what people don't see. That's what people aren't focusing on, is like the journey was kind of shit. It was kind of horrid for most individuals. When they first start, like Joe Rogan's podcast was horrible when he first started. He didn't even have microphones. I'm pretty sure he had headphones plugged in with the wire here. The audio was trash. They were doing it through a laptop. And today it's obviously the biggest podcast in the world, and they've got the best microphones, the best guests. And at the start, it was just like him and his friends. That's where you need to start. Sometimes you just need to start at the lowest level and just build your way up. You can only do what you can do with what you have at the time that you're in, with the budget that you have, the physical limitations that you have. And your job in life is to constantly push those limits and to say, how far can I push these, to keep, reaching those barriers, keep reaching those endpoints, and be like, what's next? I've done that now. I feel strong enough. I feel good enough. I feel fit enough to push it to the next level. I feel accomplished enough to know to take this up a notch and take on more people and take on more business. But it takes a long time, and that's my message to you guys. So, there's a lot of information out there, a lot of narrative out there in the world now, especially with this, the way that this industry is going, where it's like, here's how to make 10 grand a month at 12 years old. It's doable. It is doable, and it'd be great. And there's content there for you guys too, that you can enjoy. But I just think it's much more realistic for the average person to have to be patient and take their time, and just to do what they can do with what they have at the moment in time that they have it. I think it's so much smarter. I think that will make a lot more people successful than, forcing it and then fucking up and putting yourself in debt and all these things. Now, you might make it great. That just means you did as much as you could and you made it. So push those limits, but don't kick yourself because you're not where someone else is. I find that really silly, but I'll speak to you guys soon. Have a good one. Like I said, because I think I might put these two out on the same day. The school community, guys, if you want to join, I'm going to keep it the same price just for a few more days because I was away for the weekend and I forgot to tell people, so people weren't informed. So I'll just keep it. I think it's $39.99. It's about £30. I'm not going to let many more people come in at that price, and then I'll lock it off and make it. It might be $50, which would be like £38 or something like that. I'm just going to slowly up it just to make sure that we retain quality and we haven't got like 10,000 people on there just ruining the community. I want to keep it under 1,000, so that's why we keep upping the price. All right, guys, there's nearly 500 people in there now, so come and join us. We're having like 4 calls a week. There's courses in there. There's fitness courses. All the streaming platform projects are on there. There's so much on there, guys. It's unbelievable. So I'll speak to you all soon. Have a good one.